I mean, thanks, ladies, to join us. We yeah, I'm based out in the UK, but we've got a very international audience who tune in to watch our interviews. So we always like to, introduce each one of you just to find out where you're sort of born and raised, so that the internationals can get a sense as to where you guys are, and we sort of try to track your journeys and stuff. So I don't know who wants to go first, and just to say where you're born and raised.
Okay, I'll start. My name is Monifa, born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. That's pretty much what you wanted to know.
Yeah, okay, South Central, okay. Yeah, who's next?
My name is Kenya. I am the kin of MoKenStef, and I'm from Inglewood, California. How's everybody doing?
Okay. And then finally?
And this is Miss Steph, and I am from Inglewood, California. And I'm excited because our Super Bowl is going to be out here in our town.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. So a lot of us would say, oh, Inglewood, is that not where Mac 10 is from? And South Central,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dr. Dre is from.
Mac
So,
10.
yeah, so
That's our buddy. Yeah, he's from Inglewood, just like us.
yeah.
We went to different schools, though. We all from Inglewood, but we went to a different high school than he went to. But yeah, that is our folks.
Okay. So, I mean, okay, but I'll probably start with Mo, just saying, okay, so you're born in South Central. How did you get into music, and what was your inspiration starting off?
Sure, Nnamdi, thank you for asking. So it started with my mother and my father. My father is from Detroit, Michigan. He was totally a Motown. That was his hangout, was with anybody in Motown. So Marvin Gaye was his buddy.
Wow.
It goes on and on. So he had a large collection of R&B albums. My mother, on the flip side, she was more of a jazz side of my life. So she was a little bit more on the Sadiddy side. So I was exposed to, oh my gosh, I was just exposed to so much jazz. And so that mixture of jazz, like Sarah Vaughan, I'm sorry, I was trying to think of a person's name. Sarah Vaughan would be like one of her favorite persons, a favorite artist. So jazz and R&B and soul, and just mixed it up together. I was born. That's what birthed me.
Oh, okay. Kenya?
Yes. My musical background just comes from hearing my parents play music as a child growing up, cleaning up. The parties, everything came from music, ranged from the Motown era, jazz, R&B, just that whole era, just listening to music and being attached to it. Even when the 80s came in, the late 70s, 80s, when rap came into it, I just gravitated to it. It was just in me through just hearing it and listening to it. And I adapted to it really quick. It was like just part of me. So just hearing music, being surrounded by it, getting the good vibes and good feelings from music, that's what married me to music. Just being around it and remembering good times and just feeling my soul and my spirit.
Okay. And finally, Steph?
Yeah, so for me, 70s music, Motown era, and then the whole hip hop with the Sugar Hill Gang and Ice Cube, that type of combination. So it's kind of like, I would say like, how we say hip hop and R&B, that classic R&B, classic hip hop that's timeless, that never go away. So it was more like Anita Baker. My parents, we always would have like family reunions, and I would kind of be the one that would always be picked to dance, to be the one, the entertainment, it was entertainment for free, right? Back then, free entertainment. Get your kid out there and dance and do little stuff. So I loved it, though. It was not a problem, no pressure. I loved it. But it was like family reunion where you're hearing those type of Motown era, Anita Baker and Cameo. That Rick James, it was good energy. Your kids back then, they wasn't like, oh, you can't listen to curse words or sexy music or whatever. But the music back then, You know, it wasn't so vulgar like that, like it is now. You know what I mean? People would sing, you know, with a seductive type of way of doing it, opposed to being just out there back then. So the kids, we all just vibe. We might not know what it meant, but it felt good.
Yeah. I mean, and I know that, yeah, you know, a lot of us would have been listening to different types of stuff, but very few of us would ever think about a career in music. Did any of the joys of listening to music, how did it then become where you would just singing more of a, you know, either in school or stuff? I mean, Mo, yeah.
Sure. So I can piggyback off of Stefanie as well. Family reunions, I was as well, like you, Stefanie. We were more like having talent shows. And so my mom always put me in that talent show. I was more of a dancer before becoming a singer. And that's the history of MoKenStef. Is we met each other through dance. The love of dance was really, it belonged to me because singing was more of my mom's thing. That was her thing. So I pretty much, that was her lane. So I was more of a dancer. That was my lane. I had that spotlight. So that's what I wrote with. But as I got older, I picked it up from her. I didn't even know, because my mother is a professional jazz singer. And I actually picked up singing through her. And so yeah, so to answer your question, really it was a love of dance that made me comfortable with performing in front of people. Yeah. And then being honest, Stefanie and Kenya were the ones who encouraged me to sing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You're talking about dance. So, are you talking about, you know, we had the electric boogaloo and the breaking? Was that?
Right. Let's be clear. Okay, so from the beginning, right? For the beginning, for me, it was ballet, jazz, tap, modern there, and then when hip hop hit the scene, I forgot all about the technical dancing, and I was grooving from then on. I was hip hopping from then on.
Okay. And,
so for your listeners to know, people who followed us from like came out on the scene in 1994, 95 when we came out, we were dancing before that behind artists. Like, you know, we share that in our book that's coming out soon, but we dance with people, like just to give people a little taste. And we talk about our experiences with them in our book that's coming out called Unfinished Business. Yeah. We talk about Big Daddy Kane. So Big Daddy Kane is somebody that we dance behind. Kid and Play, Domino. AMG was like our, you know, person that really got us to where we are today as a group, as MoKenStef, when it all come together. But we dance in video. So we used to dance in like showcases, and they were like called ASCAP showcases and different kinds around the community, around Hollywood, different parts of, you know, Hollywood. You could go and perform and dance. And we would dance behind hip hop artists. Wow. So it's funny that you have people like Mariah Carey, Jamie Foxx, all these people back in the day before you knew who they really were. We all used to go to these showcases in Hollywood to try to do our talent back then, you know, to show what we had. But we were dancing behind unknown up and coming artists at first before we made it to the video side of it, like dancing for like major artists that have already been signed with a record label. But that was one of those things where we would always win as the dancers behind those up and coming artists that, you know, a friend of ours like, y'all should be a group. Y'all need to be not a dance group. Y'all need to really be a group, like singing and rapping something. I know y'all got other skills than this, you know what I mean? Right. That's how when Mo said we found out that she can sing. We heard her singing one day in back of a car. And I'm like, wait a minute, Kenya, do you hear her? Because me and Kenya would write rhymes and like flip other people. They Quick, much love to DJ Quick. They from Cali as well. You know, we would like flip their songs, you know, and like write poetry. And so that's how all that ended up coming together. We made it work.
That's right.
So I just want to be clear about when Stefanie said in back of a car. She's saying that I was in the back seat of the car. And they were in the front seat and they heard me singing in the background.
Not in the trunk.
She
Yeah, because we
Good
do
one,
have an
good one.
international audience, so they've seen Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood, so they may be suspecting, like, wow.
Exactly. Yes.
But I guess, how did you guys then meet first? Because we just to see how you guys sort of met each other.
Sure.
Okay, well, I'll answer that first. Stefanie and I met in high school at Morningside High, which is in Inglewood, where we're from. And as Mo said earlier, we were all dancers on our own individually. And I was just dancing with a group where the members decided to do their own thing. And the word around town was like, Stefanie's a great dancer. I met her through cheerleading. We also used to cheer.
Oh, yeah.
But we just knew each other as cheerleaders. But then, the town's like, Stefanie's a good dancer. So I asked her if she would like to dance in the group with me. She was like, yes. And we've been dancing, like she said earlier, for unknown artists. And shows were coming up, and we dancer, and this spanned between high school and college. So in college, we were in search of a new dancer, and we held an audition, which we tried to gather a lot of females together and who we knew and things of that nature. But the only person that showed up was Mo, which worked out because it was meant to be. It was cosmic, and she, we did a little 8 count, 2, 3, 8 count. And Mo picked up the choreography really quick. The vibe was there. It just was an automatic mesh. It was very natural. It just felt good. So it was just meant to be. And that's how we met.
So much in common. Like you saying, see, like it's a trip, like you say, let's figure out this story, how we mesh. And that's how we do in our book. How we are individually and how we come together is just, you could tell it's destined. From we graduated in the same year. We what else? Oh, we all our birthdays were in September, and we're like days apart, a week apart, maybe the longest. I don't know. We're all chocolate sisters, we were all sassy, and we loved to dance. It was just, we were serious. Can you imagine being 17, 18 years old and say, you know what, let's start a dance group and let's hold an audition. At that age, who holds auditions? But they had the business sense of auditions because they were cheerleaders, and that's what they did. They learned the business of how to hold how to be professional and how to find another dancer. And so I happen to be a professional too. I was a dancer. You guys know I wasn't in cheer, but I was a pep rally. I was a dancer. So I was a part of the dance team, like the pep squad. So that was my contribution to my community or my school. I went to Hollywood High, by the way. And shout out to those programs who bust the inner city students into these types of schools that gives us the privilege and opportunity to experience that. Because I wouldn't have experienced it in my neighborhood. I'm thinking about that. Never mind, that's not true, because we had manual arts and we had Corsi, but Morningside, very prevalent high school in Inglewood. So we go to these great high schools, still not knowing one another, and then we finally meet each other through an audition that they hold. We link up, we're perfect for one another, and it's just been on ever since.
Yeah, and just your audience, just to know, some other people that we danced with was knew it, like BBD's. They had a girl group called Straight Ahead. So if people know the study about BBD, Belle Biv DeVoe, they had a girl group called Straight Ahead. Amazing dancers that danced behind BBD. And they had a group and we danced behind them. So they picked the dancers all around the world. They had a big audition. They had a lot of dancers, and we were part of that situation. And so we got to work with people like Brooke Payne, who's a phenomenal choreographer that doesn't take no mess. So that no shenanigans. He's serious about that dancing. So we already had that vibe, and to meet and be a part of that work. That training was a good thing. And he also managed us at one time after we became MoKenStef, when we actually official girl group. And we talk about that in the book. So we'll let you know that story.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the book, because one of our viewers, Corey, was saying, ask him about the book. And I thought maybe you promised him a book. Then he said, no, clarified that, no, they're writing a book. So It is true. So you guys are writing a book. When is it due out? So I can.
It's around the corner. We don't have a specific date, but it's sooner than later.
Okay.
And
Hopefully before the end of the year.
So that you can pass it on, or we can come back and talk more about it.
On at the real MoKenStef on Instagram, also MoKenStef.com. They can look at. We are updating our website for the, and they will be able to purchase it on our website.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now the question I then have is, because you put all this sort of professionalism in dance, but I'm thinking, did you then think, okay, we're going to college, we'll get a job and then we'll just dance to the side, or what was the whole idea about actually trying to really take this dance seriously?
That is a good question. That's what we did. We were serious. I mean, we were laser focused on career, hobby, jobs. That's all we did. In fact, Kenya lived an awesome life. She was living that awesome college life, like a different world. She was living in the dorms on the campus. That's how, we hung out with.
That's where we hung out.
Campus. And then Stefanie, she was a college student, but she got to stay home. And then, and that's a good thing, because we got to come to her house to eat those home cooked meals that her mom did. And then me, I did not go to college immediately after school. I went to work. So I was working a 9 to 5. I had my own place.
Exactly. At 17, guys, listeners, at 17, she had her own place. This was a business woman. Her mother put her in a position at 17 years old and had her own place, and she was working a 9 to 5. That's why she was paying them more.
Through all of that, we and the girls had jobs too. Don't get it twisted. Going to college and having a part-time job. Yeah. Responsible for getting our wardrobe together for it, as a dance team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we were using our resources.
Yeah, like Mo said, I worked at a clothing store, so I would make sure that we looked really nice from the clothing store that I worked at. And also I was in college too, and I got so I wasn't just in college for hobby. I actually got a bachelor's of science degree in criminal justice. So I actually graduated with that. So just to let your listeners know, I mean, you really could do anything you put your mind to, because when you think about it, you're like, that is a lot of stuff this person was doing, because I really was working a job. Mm-hmm. I was committed to MoKenStef, trying to, write our music, because we are songwriters as well. We wrote majority of our album except one song, which is a remake. And so we were doing that. And then and to be able to go to school and graduate and and going on tour, you gotta negotiate. It's about communication. Yeah, you have to let your listeners know you got to communicate with your teachers. Like I communicated with my professors, and I told them, hey, I really want to go to school, college. I really want to graduate, but I am part of this group. I got them involved. I gave them like my promotional CDs, letting them know that I was in school, because some of those teachers, they can care less. Just you better get a grade in my class. I don't care what you got. So I got them involved in my world, my teachers, and they respected it, which was great. And I was able to accomplish going on tour with the girls and being able to get a degree.
Wow. Same here. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to do the same thing Stefanie did. Talk to my teachers, get them involved. And I know you asked us like, what was our goal, starting off in the music industry. Of course, we was in school earning a bachelor's degree. I had my bachelor's degree in communications, but my goal with dancing was just to be a dancer for MC Hammer, Janet Jackson, that was my goal at that point, in addition to graduating from school. So like Stefanie said, I would take my summers off, talk to my teachers. That's why it took me so long to graduate, but I did it. But I was working, I was touring, so I was living the world and finishing up school. So it's definitely possible, it's very possible.
And that goal,
I heard our song.
Going back to
I heard our song. I was gonna say, I heard our song playing on the radio while still working a 9 to 5. Like that's how serious it was. I wasn't sure, because just because you hear a radio, just behind the scenes, when you hear a song being played on a radio doesn't mean a check is necessarily being cut, or the check was big enough at that time for me to decide that I'm going to quit my 9 to 5 and I'm getting ready to go full time. I wasn't even ready. It took for us to seriously go on tour, promote our album, for me to communicate with my supervisor at the time that I could not hold on any longer. I had to go. So that was the decision that I made.
Yeah.
And like the goal, when you say about a goal, also going into the goal side, I knew I wanted to graduate from college. I knew, and I wanted to be a probation officer actually. And aside from, and I also wanted to tour the world with like the big artists traveling all over, not being a MoKenStef, not looking. So just to let your listeners know, we wasn't thinking about us being artists. I'm thinking about touring the world as a dancer, as being behind someone and maybe choreograph some dancers and other, take to that level. That's what I looked at. We didn't see ourselves as MoKenStef, the group, the recording group. But so that was really the goal. Like, hey, I'm gonna tour the world, and so that's where the videos come in at, where we did have some part of that because we did get to tour with AMG.
Yeah, I mean,
and
but when you
think about in our book too, you'll get the connection in our book, the journey of MoKenStef in our book, Unfinished Business.
Yeah, but I'm thinking at that time, JJ Fad, were they people that you looked into and thought?
Oh, they were before us, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we love JJ Fad.
Okay.
We performed with
them. We have performed with them before.
Okay. But then with the dancing stuff, because I know Hammer was probably, he had a big posse of dancers around him. But did you think about if we're making a living, who and where we could sort of, because dancing, it's not like as it is now where, people are making a lot of money for dancing and stuff. But back in those early days, I don't know. I mean, music is one thing, but dancing.
There was money there.
Right about that. And we talk about in the book, and it's so funny because you have to love what you're doing.
Yeah,
you have to love your art and your craft and study it and be the best you can be at it and be passionate about it. Because if you're not, the money back then was not good at all.
Right.
Not good. So
it wouldn't have encouraged you to, so that was not, the
driving force
of the motivation, right? It was not the motivation. It was dance was our motivation. In fact, we probably missed a couple of checks because we love dancing so much. That's how serious it was for us.
Once we started getting money, like Big Daddy Kane was like one of our biggest paychecks that we had got for dancing. We like, whoa, this is how it's supposed to be. From the makeup, the hair, the clothing, from everything. That Big Daddy Kane really showed us, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. How you're supposed to have a trailer and the dancers are getting makeup done, that whole thing. We got to really see that. It was our first time really seeing how that really works and how it's really a job where you get paid for.
And look at it, yeah.
So, I mean, when you think of that journey, because I think Big Daddy Kane being in the East Coast and you guys far west, I mean, how did that sort of connect?
Go ahead, sir.
Listeners probably know Fatima Robinson. She's a very famous dancer.
Fatima that did Remember the Time, and she did a lot of big stuff.
Yes.
We talk about that. We talk about that also in our book. Remember the Time, Michael Jackson video. We was a part of that audition.
We went to the audition, yes. As dancers, see? We went to all the auditions, any kind of all call from the Fly Girls, when they were looking for that one Fly Girl, that member, remember? And then it was Jennifer Lopez that they chose to fill in the spot. We were in that audition. Exactly. We talk about that in our book.
So with the Fatima Robinson, she is the connection of us, because we all danced in the same circle. And so she was the connection of how we got connected with Big Daddy Kane, because yes, he's an East Coast artist and we are West Coast, but Daddy Kane would be in the West Coast all the time. We also did other things with him, like just personal. He's just an incredible man. But we talk about a funny story in our book about Big Daddy Kane. But yeah, Fatima Robinson is the link, just to answer your question.
Okay. And then, so you guys are driving and you can hear Mo singing at the back. I mean, when did the connection become, why don't we try singing instead of doing the dancing stuff?
So we never stopped dancing. Never stopped. So
remember,
that's part of our package. Our dancing is part of our package. Yes. But to add it on to the package, to make it full, was the singing and rapping, and we hooked up with some local friends, and they was like, okay, they were producers, and they was trying to get their name out as well. And they like, y'all got talent, and we started doing demos with them, and give them their props. Shaky J and Nate, they're incredible friends that we grew up with. If it wasn't for them on that side, you know,
that was our first experience as artists being recording. You know what? It's all, I'm not going to say that it's all, you know, by coincidence, but it was just all aligned. You know, when you're in the scene of what you want to do and love, and you're in the scene with others who also love what they do, that's what you do. You network. You say, oh, you do this. Oh, you do this. Let's get together. So that's what it was. We happen to have some friends around us that says, hey, we doing music. What you think? We were like, we're down. Got behind that microphone, didn't know what we were doing yet. But eventually, by that experience, we started writing our own music on our own. We weren't producers, but we knew how to use instrumentals, wrote to that. We wrote Hes Mine in my apartment. You know, that wasn't, you know, there was no pre-production, no whole lot of money behind that first. No, that was just us vibing with one another. Took it in front of, we were meeting up with AMG. You know who AMG is, right? Bitch, better have okay. So we met up with him, and there happened to be other executives there that overheard what we did. And it just took off from there. You know, there's no one way to become successful. We all possess that ability to be successful. So there's not, oh, we had this great big budget to become MoKenStef. No, we didn't. We just work with what we had.
Right. Our resources and connections. And
yeah, I mean, Kenya, what about the name then? Because most of us probably wouldn't. I mean, I'm speaking to Mo and Kenya and Steph, but the idea of let's use that to incorporate the name of the group. How did that come about?
Well, I know Stefanie mentioned earlier we were with some producers, and along with that, I think we were getting ready for a show, and we had some other guy dancers with us, and we were rehearsing, and they also was, they all were encouraging us that we need to step out because, like Stefanie mentioned earlier, we used to outshine the artists. And it's like, you guys should do your own thing. And we've been hearing it so much to where we start considering it. Like, yeah, we should. Like, what would our name be? We didn't want to be 3 the hard way, 3 girls. We didn't want 3 something. It was just too obvious, right? So we were in the formation of MoKenStef, and we were just rehearsing, just very casual, very relaxed. And we're thinking, I even think it was a moment where we put names in a hat, but we didn't like none of the names. I can't think of any right now, but one guy was like, what about MoKenStef?
What?
And we were like, MoKenStef. And Steph was like, well, what about Steph Kim Mo? But everybody felt like MoKenStef, it just flowed.
Right.
Flow with it. So
and that was a deal easy for me to swallow because, it was like, okay, well, there's Jodeci.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was kind of like, all right, well, we could,
Sure. Was Steph, were you serious about Steph and Muck, or were you just joking?
I was dead serious. Because this is back the week because we're standing in line, and so it's like Mo was first, and Steph, I was last. So we went like, so MoKenStef
left to right,
left to right. Let's flip it and go the
right to left.
Okay.
But I like the run. I like the way it was ringing with MoKenStef.
Yeah. When you guys were then considering, okay, we got the name, who were the female groups that were already out and stuff that you guys were looking at and think, wow, okay, maybe we can make our moves in and around?
I would say,
go ahead.
I would say Salt and Pepper.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
That's more similar to our vibe, except they didn't have a singer. But when they brought In Vogue to their thing, when they did their feature with them, but we already naturally was like that, like already homegrown R&B and hip hop, raptresses and singers and songstresses and writing our own music. We already had that in our So we more kind of fit more in that kind of vibe.
Yes.
And dance, because we danced too, and Salt and Pepper did too, you know. But we had a little extra different type of twist because Mo was a singer.
Mhm.
And also TLC, they were the flip side of us. They had 2 singers and a rapper. We had 2 rappers and a singer. So it was a little bit reversed, but they were also a little similar to our vibe. It was just, you know, 2 raptress and 1 singer.
So then when you guys were then coming up with your first singles and albums and stuff, what year was this then? Around what year was this?
95 was when the single was being, but we had been writing since 92. I think with another, like we said, how we started off with the guys that had helped us, our friends, local producers and stuff.
Yep.
We actually came out with we did a whole video, a single. People have not seen that. That's in the some archives.
Yeah.
We came out in 92 actually, you know, before that, you know what I mean? But like as far as when we signed with Outburst and Def Jam, people know those labels because they're more familiar, Def Jam. But Outburst was our independent company. We had got distributed through Def Jam. So, you know, that time, that's like 94 when that single, 95 was when it actually dropped, the single. And that was 95 in May. Hes Mine was the single and the album dropped in June of 1995.
But then in 92, so I'm thinking about 92. So yes, TLC were out. I think Jade had just come out, and so SWV.
Yeah. Jeanne.
SWV, and those are good friends of mine. They were that, so we always loved them, but we weren't like them. You know what I mean? It's like only thing I say that was like them is our hair. Their hair was so pretty, like our hair. We was like, oh, our hair gonna be really cute like theirs. Like the hair, I think our hair vibe would be more. But as far as we weren't alike, because they was all singers. You know, they were sisters with voices. They were singing, so we didn't like look at ourselves to be just like them because of how different our vibe was.
Yeah,
but we loved it.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking there wasn't that. I mean, you mentioned Salt and Pepper, but I'm just trying to think there weren't that many.
There was no. So here's the thing: there was no group like us.
Yeah.
Like to be honest with you, nobody danced like we danced, like hip hop serious dancers. We danced, we rapped, and we sung. So it was kind of hard. And we brought our own material. So we was very that was kind of, and so that's something we talk about in the book because we were very different. It was hard for the label to really understand. We had too much talent. We had too much talent. You couldn't make us be like somebody because we really weren't. We're trying to give you something, but we really weren't like anybody. To be real,
we
you know what I mean? We
represented the way that we were.
Yeah, the way our style was, because we was rappers and singers and dancers, like real dancers, you know, and songwriters. We wrote our own music. We had so much talent.
Yeah, they had a different marketing angle,
and we weren't put together. We put ourselves together.
Right. Yeah, they had a different marketing angle that kind of put us out there in the light that we were, quote unquote, like angels, and not to say that we're not angels, but we were a little bit more party-ish type girls. Yeah. And they were really trying to tone us down. And
kind of was bougie ghetto.
Yeah.
But they was trying to make us be super bougie and like R&B divas. They wanted us to be like the SWV.
They kind of had us on a squeaky clean vibe, I think.
Yeah, but that wasn't really who they signed. And once they got to see what was going on in background, understand we were nice girls, respectful, hardworking women, but we also had a edge to us.
Yes.
And that's why we talk about in our book, we had so our wardrobe stylist, and they started kind of understanding us, but our wardrobe stylist first was like this classy lady in Hollywood that did like Halle Berry, like these famous actors, like them. And then her name was Deborah. She's awesome, and she was styling us. But it was good for us to have that, but we still needed our edge. And so they started seeing like, oh, they have like an edge to them, and that's where Misa Hilton, which is a well-known well-known wardrobe stylist for all kind of people, from Mary J to you name it, Lil Kim. She started being our stylist, and she was from New York. And so we got, collaborate those two flavors, and that's how MoKenStef, we was working it that way.
Okay. The one thing you did mention is that you signed with an independent label, and I wanted to ask Kenya then how that came about, and did you guys sort of, with your college degrees, have a sense of, okay, we're signing with a label, so we're going to read a contract, make sure we get a good lawyer. Or did Steph almost fall down when I mentioned a lawyer?
No,
I was like,
phone did. My phone, sorry, I'm a phone fan.
okay.
It started off with us with AMG, as mentioned before. You know,
So this is 8Ball and AMG. Was that the same AMG with the 8Ball?
No, not MJG. Not MJG. This is AMG.
AMG with DJ Quick, High C, Second to None.
Okay.
That whole clique.
Those
Okay.
90s artists, like 90, 92, you know, those artists, they were like early 90s, late 89.
Yeah,
I think.
And we was on the West Coast. This was the West Coast vibe at that time.
Okay.
Yes.
So we traveled with AMG. We did a lot of things with him, and he led us to Greedy Greg's house, which was the independent label named Outburst. He brought us over there, and there was always artists coming in and out, performing. They had ciphers, rap ciphers, singing ciphers. So Stefanie and I would always join in the rapping cipher, and we would just have fun and display our skills. And Mo would sing. It was just so much fun. It was very natural and fun and free, and people were overhearing us. So they overheard us, and we were summoned to the house. You know, Greedy Greg wants to talk to you guys. And that was the connection. And then, you know, of course, it got down to the contract. And, you know, of course, by us being in college, we knew we needed a lawyer.
We read that contract and highlighted it, like highlighted.
We were looking up words we didn't understand.
And we knew we needed a lawyer.
Because we read it ourselves too, but we also sent it to.
Yeah, because I feel my advice to your listeners is that just because you get a contract, don't just throw it to a lawyer. You know, you try to understand what's going on as well. Read it. You read it. Don't be lazy. Read it. Read what somebody gave you. You might know more than what you think you might know. And you can, and now you can Google up anything. But back then we had to look in the dictionary.
Right.
You had to look in Google anything. So you Google it. Stuff means, so you really get a lot of support to understand it. And before you give it to the attorney, which you need that too, you already kind of understand what you up against. Absolutely. You can relate the conversation and that dialogue.
And you know, another tip that I would like to share is know what you desire or want, and then ask your attorney, is it in there? You know, am I getting paid? How many dollars am I getting paid off the album? Does it say that in there? Or this is what I want, put it in there. You know, those types of things, because the contract should not just be what they want or what they're going to give you. It should also be what you desire. And is it in there?
Yeah. And some of the things, you know, these contracts was terrible. You know, these contracts back then when we came out, they weren't good. No. You know, the attorney that we had at the time, we talk about that, and it's a funny story about that in our book. And you got to make sure you get an entertainment lawyer.
Yes.
You know, later on in our career, we really understood what was going on. We had a real entertainment lawyer.
We were using our resources. You know, we didn't. You know, we were using our resources. We had an attorney, but he wasn't an attorney. He wasn't an entertainment lawyer.
But he was a. So we talk about that. So it's funny now, but
he didn't have a manager.
Yeah. And you need those type of things. You know, we were kind of like, we did a lot of stuff for ourselves. You know, there was a lot of things we came, and as we start learning, as we start getting into the business and start meeting people, once again, going back to resources. But when you first start off and you like new, it's like you green. It's like you don't really know everything. You don't know what's going on. And so you can take advantage of and certain things like that.
Who do you trust? You know? Who do you trust? That's going to be the toughest role. There is no advice that anybody can really tell you.
Yeah. I mean, when I spoke to Mr. Dalvin, I said, how much of the business did you guys know? And he said 0. Dawn Robinson from En Vogue, she said they got 2 cents a record per girl. I mean, so everyone we've spoken to, I mean, 112 said, yep, everyone got taken in the 90s because we came out of the same neighborhood. No one knew about what a contract was. And even the lawyers, they they'll say, yeah, this is a standard deal, but then it
Right.
might be a standard deal, but it doesn't mean it's a good deal. And so that was the case. And I think Shanice said the more they knew, the less the labels wanted to deal with them, because they're like, oh,
And
you
that-
know too much, so we're gonna.
I was just about to say that about what Shanice just said. I was about to say that, and that's the thing that happened with me. I was the one that knew a lot, you know, and I spoke my mind. So when you speak your mind, there's going to be things that stuff going to start getting stripped away from you, stripped away from artists, because we started knowing too. Because I went to college, I'm like, wait a minute, I might not know the business, but I'm smart enough to know what's being said.
Yeah.
That makes sense logically. This doesn't. Yeah, my common sense, and I would speak on that. So that was something that, you know, things, because you know too much, like Shanice said, you're not going to get everything like the one we probably would have even been bigger if we was like yes people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we weren't yes people like that. We needed to know, because and so, you know, back then they think you a bitch, excuse my language, you know, they don't respect people when, like, women. It's not fair for women. So I love these women today who's able to, because I was speaking out like them, but we weren't getting the respect because it was limited women doing it. It was masses of women that speak out now.
Yeah. No, Timmy Gatlin from Guy, he that's how he left, because the manager wanted to take his publishing, and he said, no, I need to read the contracts. And then, you know, that's how he was on the album cover, but he didn't come out with them, because they were like, he's a troublemaker. He wants to know too much.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, we've been seeing and learning about this. So you get your lawyer. He sort of says, okay, you get that stuff done. Did you guys get to a compromise where you think, okay, it's okay for us to sign? We've got a few things that they've changed to make it acceptable for us to at least proceed with being signed to Outburst.
So
yeah, we did get a compromise. I mean, because like I said, but because we are writers, we shared some of the, you know, the publishing with the label, you know, so the label got a percentage and we got a percentage. So we worked it like that. But, you know, but really it's like now when you look forward, we should get 100% because we wrote everything. But we shared, the actual label, they had a production deal with their producers that they brought in. So we split, you know, a portion of that with them, because they also was working like on a production side with their producers that they hired in-house for them. So they did little deals with them. And, you know, we got our points and we did escalating scales in our contracts. So we understood if we sold this amount, our stuff would be, you know, so we did things that, we did have things in there that was good. The thing that wasn't good for us is that we had to deal with sharing with Hes Mine was a big song, one of our biggest songs, and we had to share like our money with Roger Troutman and Prince. And being that we wrote that song all by ourselves, nobody had nothing to do with Hes Mine as far as on the writing side. But on the production side, our producer really did not copy. So we had to kind of go back and forth with court with the production. Our producer was incredible. He replayed all these things, but they try to say we took that sample. So that was like a different, that's the thing that's a problem with our situation, where we should have made more money because we would have been, and our label as well, because we own the production, you know, the publishing rights of that. But when you have to share it, so there's the little twist where it comes with that sample, and you got to be careful with that. And it was unfortunate that we didn't win. Our producer didn't win, and so it affected all of us. And we saw him live playing this, so it's unfortunate that he got that happened like that. And so I did not want the song. Just to give your listeners, I didn't want the song. I didn't want to do the song. Then we had to give them that much of a percentage.
Was this before it was released?
Yeah, before
it was kind of already released, it was kind of in the middle. It was kind of in the middle
being released, and I'm like, I don't even want to do it. Let's do something else. You know, that's you know, I love that song, but financially, when I look at the money part of it, I'm like, I don't love it that much. And I'm young. Imagine I'm a young kid. I'm young, thinking like this. You know what I mean? Wait, that's where the compromise.
Forget about it then. Let's do something else.
Right. So the compromise came in where we came in and just said, hey, let's just do Hes Mine.
It's done.
It's done.
So when you think,
I had to let it go.
Yeah. I mean, when you do think of it, then I mean, Kenya, whose idea was it to release that as a single? I mean, was it Hes Mine?
It was ours. I mean,
all of ours.
Collectively, we
all
all
of ours
agree.
collectively, yes.
Yeah.
We all agree. We loved it. It was a hit. As soon as somebody heard it, everybody instantly loved it. So it wasn't hard to say that that's the song. But when it came down to the dollars and cents, it became an issue.
Yeah.
We all felt like Stefanie at one point, but she was the one speaking out about it. We all were kind of like, oh, that's messed up, because we really worked so hard on it. And as you know, we learning as we go through this whole journey. We learn as we go. So it was a little disappointment about that. And then now you're learning the back end of the business. Oh, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
After the fact, we done already did the music. Everything else is laid out to be done. They got tours and press kits and meetings and in-store meetings. Things are already lined up and scheduled. But that was just a little roadblock that kind of, made us feel a little disappointment for all the hard work we put in.
Imagine if one person just be like so against it, it can mess up everything. And that's what a compromise, when you're in a group, you have to compromise, because I had to let how I really felt to go with this journey. But, I don't regret the journey, because we wouldn't be where we are today and the success we had. I don't regret it, because you just learn, and you know what to do next. And,
and your next step,
our second single, was Sex in the Rain. It was a song that we wrote. Nobody sampled. Nobody can say somebody took a sample or anything. This was like original.
Yeah.
Our writing and our producer, the same one that did Hes Mine, his name is Hammy. Much respected.
Yes.
And all that. And so he was a wonderful producer that we worked. We had a great connection with him. But anyway, so that's why we said, okay, we ain't doing this next single. Well, we did do remix, which was, we really were blessed off our album. We were able to have like 4 different videos shot off one album, which you didn't really get that. So we was able to find the original Hes Mine remix, Sex in the Rain video, and also Baby Come Close video. So we had like 4 videos shot off one album. Which is
Well, I know that some people said, they love the remix you did with Grand Puba. But I want to go to the song Hes Mine, because I remember, because I went to, as I said, I'm here in the UK, but I went to college in the States. And I remember when the song came out, and I'm thinking, wow, this is a nice little song for the men. Like, I can cheat on my girl and play the song like she's proud.
Oh,
just proud to be like,
she haven't heard that one.
Or you could, or you could go ahead and cheat, but at least she's gonna come home. It was, it took us guys like, wow, okay, I like this song. It's like, maybe hear this song kind of thing. I mean, whose idea was it? I mean, I know you all 3 wrote it, but how did you even think about that kind of song? And did you think about the implications of what you were saying?
You know what, Nnamdi? No,
we didn't,
because we didn't have an angle. That was our emotions being put on that album. That is, and first of all, Nnamdi, I've never, like Kenya said, never heard that perspective before, especially from a male.
Right.
Like that's how it was taken, that it gave you a pass. That was not what that song was meant for, by the way. But if you got a pass with it, good for you.
It felt like that. It felt like that, though. You might have had one, but he's, but I have him all the time.
You didn't have to say nothing. You just let them go ahead and I get it. No, you know what? The message, there's 3 messages. Well, there's 3 messages from 3 different young ladies. My Hes Mine was to a lady. I'm telling her, regardless of what you're trying to convince me, that you've been with him and because women do that. Women who decide they don't want to be the second one, they sabotage you because they want you to break up with them, right? So if I don't know about you and you want me to know about you because you want to sabotage, that's my situation. So I was like, girl, please, he's mine. Okay, if you had him, I got him all the time. That was where I was coming from. Kenya?
And my perspective was, I'm with a guy now, and we're in a committed relationship, but you used to go with him. Y'all had a relationship, it's over with. So you may have had him once, but now I got him all the time. Y'all don't go together anymore, but we do. So that was my perspective. But like Mo said in the beginning, we just wrote the song. We just having fun. We off of Super Soccer and Gin. We just writing it. But when people start asking us questions, it's like, let me think, what was my perspective on this song? And I remember at the time I was dating a guy that used to be with a girl and she wanted him, but it's like now I have him. You may have had him once, but now I got him all the time. So then it started making sense. We was just writing from our hearts, having fun. And that was my perspective.
And so I on the perspective with theirs, you know, like knowing their story and what was going on. And it's stuff I've seen with other people and even within myself. But when we was writing it, I was kind of laughing like, and so when you hear those funny little clowning little moments in there, it's me being funny, saying played you like a trick because you let him hit. Now he's coming home to a lover that is strong. So it's like those type of things that I put in there was because those are things that was happening when when I was listening to Mo and listening to Kenya talk, these girls, you know, yes, you think you have someone, like everybody had someone before you. When you start dating, we all been with someone before and they break up. And then you go back, you go with someone else. And then that person who you broke up with might still want that person, but that person's with a new person. And that person is still trying to get that person. And then you like, hey, you may have had them once. You had them once, but I got them now. I got them all the time. So it's like over. So we're not giving you a pass, no man, no pass. So, but we listen to what people say. We get what y'all thought, you know, and what people think, don't take it no harm. Whatever when people get mad at us, people like love us, people really resonate with it. We get because music is emotional and it can put you on an emotional roller coaster. And that's what that Hes Mine song did for some people. Some people looked at it like, this is my man, and they got it. Some people literally got exactly as if they was in the room writing with us. They actually knew exactly what we were talking about. Yes. And you guys were taking on another, like how you did, you took it somewhere else. We never gave you a pass to cheat. Even when we was young, even when we were young, that ain't how we roll. You can't cheat. No, we gonna put you like that. That ain't how we get down. So, but we understand what you thought. You know what I mean? Because it's so funny because you can take those different type of twists and turns with the lyrics. They were so tricky.
Yeah. It did seem as if your man has cheated on with somebody, and then you're like, well, he might have had him once, but I got him all the time, so he's coming home to me, and so it was like, oh, okay, that's
You know what? There are so many scenarios like that. Nnamdi, we are aware of those types of situations, those types of relationships where women, they've given up a pass, whether they've consciously given him a pass or not. She's aware of his behavior. She hasn't checked him about it. She allows it to happen. Yeah. We're aware of those types of relationships. That was not the kind of relationship we were in and what we're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. A song that gets it's understandable. Now, I mean, we love the 90s because there was so much competition. We mentioned SWV, Jade, Janae, Changing Faces, Brownstone. There was I can go on and on and on. So, and this is just on the female side, and you have the male side. So, to put out a single. And it's fighting, with everyone else to get us attention. It is not easy at all. So when you see the song that you guys sat down and wrote one evening, get to the Billboard top 10. I mean, that's we're not just talking about R&B. We're talking about top 10.
Number one. It was number one. Our Billboard, that Hes Mine song was number one for 4 weeks in a row. Billboard.
Yeah, but it also crossed over to the main.
Crossed over.
Yeah, it did. The main one. And so, what does that? Did it take you by surprise that wow, this stuff that we wrote is resonating and actually hitting the nation and around the world?
Of course,
I was super surprised.
Yes. You're talking about three sisters from the neighborhood. We're just doing what we're led to do. I mean, we didn't even see that height, to even think we were going to touch it. And I'm gonna tell you something, we didn't have people around us to really to keep reminding us where we are. We were just so grounded. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. But we just, I don't know, girls. I don't know how to explain it.
What I'm saying is that, like, when he said that, like, we did not expect that, and we didn't know how far you can really go. See, when you're young, we know the heights and levels, how high you can even go in this industry. That's why it's really important to understand it before you get in it, because we didn't understand how the business work of it like that. We were trying to learn the business as we was going. So when you see all and changes happening, we like, oh, because there was this, I don't know if you knew about this, it was like R&R, like radio retail, like radio stations. Like we was #1 for 4 weeks on that. That was like a radio crossover, rhythmic R&B. We crossed over the other side. We like, oh my goodness, Kiss FM, Rick Dees, you know, like Ryan Seacrest, who you know now, like all these people was on these different radio shows, all a part of that. And we didn't know all these things. So when you got so to see that, not knowing how that really worked, that was amazing. And then when you go to shows and perform, traveling all over the world and seeing people singing what you wrote, you're like, wow. So it's incredible. It's amazing. But we wish we would have knew certain stuff.
Yes.
It can go. Maybe we can understand, you know, just better business, and we could add different opportunities.
Yes. That was the fall for us, is because we did not have proper representation. We just could not. We found someone, but unfortunately we lost him because he passed away. It was Gladys Knight's son, Jimmy Newman. He was like that. For me, he was our last hope. Someone that was, you know, really serious, you know, about business.
On the Vegas tour, you know, because his mother was there. So, you know, Gladys Knight, you know, she was doing the Vegas residency. And we came to see her show at the MGM. If you're familiar with Las Vegas, it's a big place. It's major to perform at. And he was in transition trying to get us in that situation. Unfortunately, he passed away. And we talk about that in the book. But he was one of the best experiences that those people would have been there earlier at the beginning of our career.
Right.
But
The thing is, because it's hard for me to picture you guys as these 3 dancers when your very first single did not help you showcase any dancing. I remember seeing you guys on BET, and you know, doing your little slow dance, and I'm like, you know, so when you talk about we were these dancers and stuff, I'm thinking, well, I don't know any of your slow videos. You didn't really. You were just doing the little like Hawaiian little dance stuff, so it didn't really.
Just the remix.
I feel you on that. So the remix was so important to come. The remix, because it was up tempo and it gave us, so you could see us dancing, you know. So you got to see what we're talking about when we danced in the remix of Hes Mine. And then if you went to shows, we incorporated our dancing when we performed. But that was the thing that we wanted to keep, you know. When our next single had came out, you know, we was like, okay, we really want our up tempo song. Because if you listen to our whole album, we have this reggae, you know, because you know, this reggae feels reggae is like that. We've been on that vibe. Like people doing that now. We been did that. 1995, already on this reggae feel, dancing hall type of.
But it goes with what the ladies were talking about earlier. We were always in this constant battle. They always wanted to keep us, you know, as these R&B stomptress ladies. And we were constantly battling them, like, oh, we want this single to come next because it would display our hip hop dancing inside. So it was always that's the battle of what we wanted to do. We wanted to show that. And so that was the fight we had. So you didn't see that a lot, but like Stefanie said, once you came to our shows, we incorporated all of that.
And you're gonna hear about that story more in the book. That was one of those struggles that was very difficult for us. That was, you know, a thing that was very painful, you know, experience for us. That part of trying to make us be somebody that we're not.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess though, because you set a trend by, you know, your first single, even your second single, you know, it did tap a particular type of market, and really pushed you guys. As I said, I didn't know about the remix with Grand Pooper, because the first single was so big that the remix almost didn't fit as much as, because I mean, as I said, it's still one of the biggest singles that came out in the 90s, and it's, you know, you could put it up with Right Here, Jade's Don't Walk Away. So it's if you're thinking about the defining song of the 90s from a female group, that would be in there. Having your first single come out and be so big, does it put then pressure, or does it, you know, does it open a lot more doors, you know, for shows and stuff, and then there's less pressure on the follow-up singles doing as good? Or does it work in reverse where, man, we need to now match up with that?
We didn't have that album. I was just gonna say, it's the second album is the challenging part, to try to measure up.
Oh, not the single,
it wasn't,
not
you know, the album.
Right,
the album is done, really. The single sold itself. Back then, remember, in the 90s, it was all about singles.
Yeah.
It wasn't about albums. That was the setback that they had made, which they should have just pushed the album and not just singles. Because everybody, you know, they got what they want now. So, you know, now what? But so the challenging part for me was the follow-up, not single, but the follow-up album.
And then, yes. And so very similar to when we spoke to Tabitha from Cut Close, is like, yep, we've big album, everything does well. And then, okay, we're waiting for the next stuff. And
yeah, it's because if it's not organic, the first album is organic.
Yeah.
It just came about. But now it's become, you know, now you have to be focused. And it almost takes away the joy of creating, you know, an album, because now it's like, okay, I got a deadline. And that wasn't how we created the first album. We didn't create the first album based off of deadlines. It was just organic. So anybody else have anything to say?
Yeah, the second album. So while we was in the production with the second album, we were with a whole new label. And we came out with a song, and it came out overseas. It was called He Say, She Say. It was on a compilation album with Tupac, and it was like different artists that was on. It was a compilation album, and it was called He Say, She Say. And that was like our follow-up after the first album. But we were still working on it. We have a lot of songs right now from that second album that has not been released. But He Say, She Say is one of those songs that would have been a part of that second album, that sophomore album. I don't know if you got a chance to hear that.
No, not the second single. From that was released.
Sophomore album.
From the sophomore
It
album.
actually was on a compilation, but we would have actually put it. It was actually on a compilation album with several variety of artists.
Mm-hmm.
But compilation, was that from a label? Sorry, from a soundtrack?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, it was from a label called Hits from the Archives. And they were some guys from the West Coast that got like different artists to come. And that was kind of something that was getting big, like in like the 98, going to 2000 compilations. People would like feature, and they would like, you know, make money off of that.
Similar to a soundtrack, but it's not linked to a movie or anything like that.
Right.
Just a compilation of various artists participating one song to an album.
Yeah, but why would Def Jam allow you guys to do that if they're not thinking, okay, we need to follow up on this?
The good thing was we weren't directly signed to Def Jam.
Okay.
That's one. We were directly signed to Outburst Records, right? And so
though we weren't with them anymore.
Right. We were released from that particular project, which allowed us to do other projects.
Yeah, we was on.
Okay, so I mean, was that part of the contract where you could get released after the success of your first album? Or because that doesn't seem, it seems like, well, why would you let the golden goose go?
Well, we requested to be released. We requested because it was breached. We had a breach of contract, and we talk about that in the book. The contract was breached. The follow-up of what was in that contract did not happen. So either we could stay. They wanted us to stay. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like they was like, well, bye. It wasn't that, but stuff wasn't being done. There was a lot of silence going on after the album was released, and we should have more noise, more things going on. And there was a standstill.
Yeah.
trying to get back. And Def Jam was dealing with some financial problems as well. So time until like years later, we see this documentary with one of our close friends, Warren G, who was signed to the label. Warren G brought them back. You know, Montel Jordan, Warren G, these people brought, and LL Cool J brought the label. Def Jam was happening. So we didn't know these things was happening. So there was some financial stuff going on too, which the artists, we weren't privy of that knowledge.
Right. So when they dropped our label, Outburst, when they let them go, Outburst wasn't able to continue on pushing us like we were before.
Meeting what the contract said they were supposed to do.
So they were in breach. Yes.
Okay.
Therefore, they were in breach.
So then you guys are a hot group with a massive single and album, and now you're free agents. Weren't they other labels saying, "Yep, we'll take you guys on board"?
We did, and we talk about in that book. We had several labels after that. We had several.
It just had to be right, and it just never either the contract wasn't right or somebody we're getting ready to sign and then something happens. It's just something about how unstable, you know, this industry was, at least back then. I don't know what it's like now, but back then it was very unstable. Of something that happened, and I don't think we put it in the book, but John Sally was a famous basketball player. John Sally was friends with Randy Jackson, which everybody know Randy Jackson from American Idol, but he wasn't with American Idol back then. He hadn't got that job yet. Yeah, NCA Records. He was with MCA. He heard that song, He Say, She Say. They was going bananas, going crazy, loving it. John Sally loved it. He brought us to MCA. They all loved it. They went crazy. We were real close to being signed to MCA based on that single, He Say, She Say. But he ended up leaving. Like when Mo said, stuff happened. He ended up leaving to go an American Idol. He got the, we see years later, he got the American Idol job. And so we didn't get that situation because he.
Wow.
That happens.
Wow. Yeah.
We were really close. We were really close to being on the next major label, which would have been MCA, because that was a powerful song we had. We knew it was, and not to toot my own horn, but it was a fire. That He Say, She Say song, and everybody wanted it. And that's how we ended up going with hits from the archives and making money off of that single, off of that. Because you got to live, you got to survive, right?
Yeah.
So we like, hey, we'll sell it to to them.
And Jen, around this time,
that's one of those situations where.
Yeah, and around this time, a lot of the labels were being bought. So like Polygram and Mercury, and they were sort of folding and stuff, and Universal, and so a lot of artists were being dropped. A lot of things were being put on hold. And I think it was just.
And you got to see also too CD burning, burning CD.
Yeah, Napster.
We ran into. There's different things, and we talk about in the book, but we fell into that also, where people started not buying. That's why labels was they weren't surviving either, because that's how they make their money, off the sales of the record.
Yeah. Oh goodness. So. In the wilderness, then, I mean, when things are like that, and it's, what did you guys then decide to do? Did you think, I don't know if you can go independent, it's not like now, but what was it, did you guys have a meeting to say, okay, do we go back to dancing, or what do we do?
Right.
We
talk about that.
Yeah.
That's when we separated. It come to a time where one of the people in the group was like, I can't do this no more. This stuff is just not right.
Before that, we were trying to come back out. Remember, we was trying to get our own package together, because everything was starting to go to the internet. And so we were trying to do our own thing. We was trying to get our own CD. I was working at a post-production company where we had access to, print some things out, burn some CDs. So we was trying to get a little press kit, our own little kit together, but we had to do all the hustling ourselves. Plus, at that time, we were doing our own independent jobs again, or I forgot exactly what everybody was doing, but we was, Stefanie was writing, doing some other things. Mo, I think, was with the airlines. I was in film, editing and stuff like that, but we were still trying to get a press kit together to put it out for ourselves and do like a joint venture. But because of life happening and things wasn't panning out the way we wanted to, then, you know, it's in the book it's titled Unfinished Business.
Yeah.
We talk about the separation of the group.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I don't want to say too much about it because I want you guys to get the book.
Yeah, so you guys can what happened with what, you know, because we have chapters in our book, you know, we talk about, you know, the fallout. You know, that's one of our chapters, and we talk about the fallout and what happened, and you know, and that's what's so beautiful about the book, because we have 3 different perspectives. We all was in the same scenario, but there's 3 different ways we looked at it, and we talk about it from our perspective. So you get the 3 original members of this group talk what occurred in these different moments of what you wanted to know about, you know, like what was going on. So we talk about the fallout and what went down. And how we were, you know, trying to do stuff. Like 2 of us were still trying to make it happen while one of them was on the other journey, and the lack of communication, it just got to where it was like, this is over. It's not working. You know what I mean? And, you know, one person really trying to make it happen longer and longer. But you get to see who was doing what and what happened and what happened after that.
Yeah. And it's so ironic that our book is like how we wrote our album, from 3 different perspectives. So in the book, we have photos, we have pictures from the beginning to the end, the fallout and the new life. You know, we all speak from our perspective, how it affected us, how this one picture or this one incident affected all 3 of us. So you get it from Mo's perspective, my perspective, and Stefanie's. And the more we talk about this, I'm like, that's how we wrote our album. It's so interesting how we come off with how we express ourselves, and it all comes together.
Around this time, I mean, a lot of other people were breaking up. SWV, Cut Close. I mean, so it almost became like hip hop became what the labels were pushing, because it was less expensive, but it was crossing over to pop. So after the pop, hip hop became the new pop. So labels were pushing hip hop. So all our R&B groups and artists were being sort of dropped and pushed us to the side.
Yeah.
From the outside, watching how the industry was shifted from being heavily promoted in the early 90s to now in 2000s, it became hip hop world. How did you guys see the industry and think, my goodness, you know, this is what we started. This was supposed to be our lane. You know, we were female hip hop, and now it's going to that direction, and we're not in there. What was that like for you guys?
I mean, I know I was like, man, it's because we kind of was like still like in a dinosaur years for us. Like when I say dinosaur years, like with the internet, not connecting fast enough. Like we should have, you know, like jumped on it. Like when we had a producer that we worked with, we made some great songs with him, and hopefully you guys will be able to hear it. But he kept saying, you guys got to get on the internet. And we just was like kind of slow drag. We were so used to the old way of thinking. We would not get on the internet, and he was telling us we had somebody in our ear pushing us. He was so, you know.
It's still there.
Sorry about that. Someone called. He was trying to push that for us, but we didn't connect yet. So say that, because what you're saying is that when we saw all these things with the hip hop and all this going on, you know, we could have jumped on it, but we still was kind of like late. We looking from afar, like look at the internet, you know what I mean? Like looking, but not making it happen. And then when you start seeing people using your information, making YouTube channels with our videos and getting 5 million, and that's what made me wake up and say, wait a minute, hold up. We need to get in this game. And that's why I mentioned the book with the girls, that we need to write this book and we need to talk about the unfinished business, what was going on, because what we saw, that was our lane. It's like, it was our lane. People making it happen on the internet, getting exposed, getting that exposure.
Yeah.
And like in addition to what Stefanie said, it's like when that was happening, it's like, yeah, you want to be a part of it, because we did start off with that, especially our group, because it was formed off of hip hop. You know, we all love hip hop. So we had the combination. We had the best of both worlds, R&B and hip hop. So we wanted to be a part of it, but we also wanted it to be right. You know, it's always felt like we was a step behind. It was always, as soon as we learned this, now they on to that. So it was always like catching up. And when we didn't have great representation, it just made it that much harder, because we would have to do it along with life and growing and learning, you know, we would have to be the ones to do it. So we definitely wanted to be a part of it. So when Stefanie brought the book up, we was like, this would be a great opportunity to let people know that we, you know, our journey, and that we do want to finish our business. We want to finish what we started, you know, and it's a great opportunity because now you have the internet, what it is today. You can just put it out there. Yeah. You can start again. You can begin again and reinvent yourself.
You reinvent yourself and you don't have to be put in a box.
Yeah.
Right. And you can be reintroduced to the new generation.
Now, we've been getting tours and concerts almost daily, but we haven't really seen you guys. Was there plans to, I mean, I know you've got the book coming, but was it like, okay,
representation.
We write the book, let it go out there, but then, you know, we go back to our 9 to 5, and were you ever planning to reform? I don't know.
We're planning now, Nnamdi. Okay, listen. Person like me, I was really hurt by the industry. I didn't want to have anything to do with it anymore because it hurt my feelings. Okay, I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. So now, because Stefanie, you know, got us back together to get this book, which was very healing, right? We got a chance to really put our perspectives out there. We're like, we didn't necessarily collaborate to write the book. We came up with, okay, this is a chapter, this is what we're going to write about. But each individual is on their own, like Steph Kenya is saying, we're doing it again. We're creating that same vibe, put our own spin of how we saw things. And then we're able to talk about it. Oh, did it happen this way? No, it didn't happen that way. Now, you know, we're correcting each other on how things happen. And so now we're on this journey to rebrand ourselves and say, this is who we are. This is the contribution that we had to the 90s. And look we still have it. And that's what we're
as far as the tour stuff, we have been doing like spot dates. And now we have someone right now, we can't say who, but they're putting a girl groups together for a 90s show. And we're the names that's being popped up in that package. So we want your listeners to look out. That should be coming soon. Once, you know, all the dotted black and white dotted lines, all that stuff.
Dotted lines, yes.
Yeah. Yep. So that's something so you'll see us back out there on the tour side, on the performance side. Yeah. And that's something that's being worked on. But yeah, we were performing, doing spot dates here and there.
Mm-hmm.
What about
you're gonna see us more. You're gonna see us more than ever.
Okay. I mean that's good. I mean, as I said, if we've because we, you know, Instagram is massive when it comes to seeing what's out there with the groups and stuff. So people are some, especially when DJ Cassidy did his Pass the Mic, it really just could connect a lot of us. Like, yes, we missed the 90s, and all of a sudden, so it definitely would be good. I guess the question
we're thankful for the 90s, and we're thankful that the people want to hear that music from the 90s. They want to hear it. So we've been, you know, opportunities been coming, you know, our way, you know. We are thankful for that, giving us another opportunity to show, you know, the unfinished business that we have started.
Yeah. Oh, now what about the dancing? Because I remember speaking to John from Troop, and I'm like, and he says, yeah, we can still, you know, they can still do the dance moves even in their 50s though. And we always see New Edition. You talked about Brooke Praying. They don't miss a step. Now you guys were the original Black Dancers. You still got it?
Oh,
never miss a beat.
What?
Never miss a beat.
We got it. Trust me. Bring us to your town and we'll show you.
We still got it, Nnamdi. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
No, but have you been working on the routines and stuff? Because
exactly, yes.
Oh yeah, yes we do.
Oh yeah,
we're getting ready, and we stay ready individually. We're all, because this is what we did. We didn't necessarily, you know, we didn't need to be in a group to have this passion to dance. So we're still dancing. Miss Kenya, she didn't took her physique to a whole nother level. Have you followed her on Instagram yet?
I saw as sort of a Miss Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I was thinking,
yes, exactly.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think, wow.
Yeah, but like Mo said, it was always in us, you know, physical fitness, dancing. And so that's where it stems from, just being healthy, being active. So I involve in personal training with Fly Girl Fitness, and that's girl with the U. And so that keeps me going. Dancing keep us going. When we get together, we sharpen up the steps, add some more things to it. So it's in us.
Yeah, you can't sleep on this dancing, you know, because once, you know, when you get those calls to go perform, you got to be ready. So that's dancing as always. And I have a child that's a dancer and, you know, and a gymnast and stuff like that. So being active with her, she's very busy. So learning, you know, keeping up my, you know, my
keep you up to date with everything dances. Yeah.
Up to date.
So are we going to expect...
young people keep you alive. Young people keep you alive.
Yeah, they'll tell you about, you know, TikTok and IG and how to post and stuff.
Right.
Because that's, you know, one of the people who took advantage of the internet and broke through was Cassie, you know, because she you know, she used the MySpace and she was shooting videos and then all of a sudden it got so much attention, and that's how it broke out. And now with that Instagram, you know, a lot of groups are putting out, you know, little shows of themselves, their rehearsals, and it keeps them in the public's mind, so that when you do show up on a tour in a show, people are like, yeah, I want to remember that.
You. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you guys plan to re-record your first album, or you know, just, you know, pretty much an updated version of it, you know, add some raps and showcase yourselves differently, or would you then focus on...
That's funny that you...
Yeah.
I was going to talk to the girls about that, because I was inspired by another artist that I saw that did that. And I said, you know what, I think we should do that. And I was going to talk to... It's so funny that you said that. I was going to talk to the girls about that, because I was inspired by Taylor Swift.
Yeah, even Ashanti has done it as well. And
Ashanti, well...
Yeah.
I was inspired. I was like, I think that would be really good for us. So yes, that's something that I think will really be great for us to do, because there was a lot of flavor in that album that needs to be showcased again.
Yeah, I mean, because apart from the fact that you then own your own version of it, and that it gets, you know, that's forever money if you own your own masters of the songs that you wrote and stuff, but you're at a different stage, so vocally we're hearing it differently. And then, you know, there's a part of the hip hop part that you guys naturally had that we never really saw, and which could be incorporated in it and stuff. So I always tell, you know, all the people I interview, and I said, and they were like, yeah, we want to come up with new music. I'm saying, you have to understand, the audience that would come to your shows, we're stuck in the 90s, and we're not really too keen on any new stuff. So if you came out with a remix of your old track, like we'll listen to that. But if you're not giving us some new music, we're like, yeah, okay, we're not really feeling it and stuff.
Right. I totally agree with you. I'm on the same page, because I look at it. Some artists be like stuck in I don't know, they want to do this new stuff. I'm not like that. I'm like a fan of music, like how you, and I feel the same way. I want to hear people's old stuff.
Yeah.
And what you do with it, how you can recreate it and things like that. I don't really care about what you got new. I enjoy the old things because we lost that. Yeah. We lost that sound. You know what I mean? You lost. So bringing that back and giving people that sound and put a little twist, I'm all for it.
Yeah. I mean, definitely we look forward to that. So, I mean, I always, you know, sort of wrap up my interviews by asking each of my guests, you know, if you were stuck in an elevator and you had a choice of a movie to watch while they're trying to get you out, what would you request? So I'll probably start with Kenya, then Mo, then and Steph.
Wow. Give me a moment.
That's good. That's a good type of question too.
What movie I would want to watch?
Yeah, what movie? Yeah.
You know, the first movie that popped in my head was The 5 Heartbeats, but that's just the first thing that popped in my head. But I'm like, well, let me think about it. But if that's what popped in my head, that's what popped in my head.
Okay.
We're gonna go with the 5 heartbeats.
Oh shoot, Stefanie, you look like you got one already.
I have a couple of, but he said only one. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know about this movie, but it's called Dance Flick.
Oh my God, that movie's so funny. Oh God, that movie's hilarious.
Yeah, so it's hilarious, and I like to laugh. Comedy,
I
I
love that
like
movie.
to laugh. So I will be in that elevator cracking up laughing.
Okay, that's flick. Okay, I'll check that out.
Die laughing. You go. It's some humor that you
Crazy.
and Marlon. See, I love Marlon Wayans. You know, the
Okay.
brother, part of that writing aspect of it. So it's way like I like white chicks as well. That was in my second grade. So I'm a person who like to laugh. So
Okay.
so watch. I want you to see Dance Flick. It's hilarious.
Okay, I'll look at I'm a big fan of the don't drink gin and juice in the hood while
Oh
or something.
wow.
I can't
Yeah.
remember.
That's old.
Don't be a
Yeah.
menace to society while drinking gin and juice in the hood.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's yours?
I'll go old school. I'll go Fridays.
Okay.
Fridays, it was like I don't know, for us in the hood, that was just like the most hilarious in soul playing. Like all those Fridays wasn't a bootleg, but all those kind of like bootleg type funny movies, I'm a big fan of.
Oh, okay. You said Friday. When you said Fridays, in my head I saw Boys in the Hood, and I'm thinking funny. But then, yeah, makes
Oh yeah,
sense.
Chris Tucker.
Because I see in my head when you said Friday was funny.
Friday was Chris Tucker, the first one. Friday was Chris Tucker. So
yeah, when you said
you got the right person.
Okay. Now the other question.
Ice Cube.
Oh yeah, Ice Cube. Yeah, because he was in both of them. Somehow I just thought.
Yeah, he was in both.
Yeah, but before they put the movie on, they said, "Look, it'll take a few seconds, minutes and a half. We'll play a song for you." What song, Kenny, do you request? What's your go-to, your all-time song that you'd say that I love? This is my song. Anytime I'll listen to this.
Oh shoot.
It's a minute.
Oh.
He said Bo or Kenya.
He's asking Kenya right now, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still just thinking. What's my go-to song?
Say your question again, Nnamdi.
Yeah, I always say, what's your go-to song? Your song that, like, it's rain or shine. This is my song. Yeah.
It's a lot of go-to songs depending on your mood and your vibe, and
Right.
What you feeling.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Your
my workout
ultimate
go-to songs would be like a Lil Wayne song. That's working out. But my wake up.
Your ultimate song then. Your ultimate.
I don't have an ultimate song. Let's see. Can you go to one of the other ladies?
Okay. No. So my favorite album would be Mary J's My Life. That was like, oh my gosh, that album will never die.
But if you had to pick a song, then what song would it be?
Okay. Shoot, I like them all, but what is it? Shoot. Never wanna live without you, babe. I wanna be a lady. Your love is so amazing. So I'll pick that one.
Okay. Steph, I see you almost waiting. I'm sure you have a list in there and stuff.
Looks hard to see. Looks hard deceiving, sir. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just cracking a joke. No, I do. Like them. I have a lot too, but I will probably go gospel on you.
Yeah,
and it will
gospel too.
Never would have made it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Never would have made it.
Is that Warren Sapp? No, Marvin Sapp.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin Sapp. Okay. Marvin Sapp.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I like hip hop, rap. I like everything, but I guess I would go on a spiritual journey with that. Would never would have made it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kenny, have you got a song yet?
Well, thinking as the ladies was going, and you said go-to song, I'm like, my go-to song. In different moods, I have different go-to songs, but the ultimate would be a gospel song. because that in any mood that I'm in, the gospel song is gonna keep me lifted,
Right.
and keep me, you know, keep my spirits high. So, grateful, 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 grateful,
Gratefulness.
grateful, gratefulness. So
Yeah.
that's one song that always touched me.
Okay. Who
That
sang
would
that?
be it. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
People don't think that.
I don't know. I'm so sorry. I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up.
The one question I didn't ask you guys is that where did you guys?
What would be your go?
Oh, The Lady in My Life, Michael Jackson. There'll be no, yeah, the lady from Thriller.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I love that
That's a
song.
good one.
Yeah. I mean,
That
who's Donnell Jones and both Pamela Long from Total, both of them, when we asked the same question, they both said the same thing. And I said, yeah, that's my forever song. And yeah. So yeah, so that's yeah, that's my yeah. And I
That's a good
actually
one.
so
That's
so
a
big
nice
a
song.
song that I actually don't, you know, I don't listen to it too often because I don't, it's, you know, I don't, you know, maybe every 2 months I can listen to a snippet of it and put it away so it can still stay fresh.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
That's
Does it make you feel like you can sing it?
No, I wouldn't even attempt to sing it. Yeah, unless when he's
Come
singing, then I'll hum it around and stuff. But actually, Donnell loved the song so much that he wrote his song called "Loving You," which was very similar to it, but he couldn't release it because it was so similar that they blocked it. But he released it on the internet, and it sounds so, yeah, Donnell, yeah.
I love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's yeah, we've got, yeah, we've got it up. So I'll send the link of the track. It's an amazing song. I didn't ask. Yeah, I didn't ask you guys, where did you guys sing though? I mean, apart from Mo, would you guys sing it in school or church, or was it just pretty much?
Definitely. Yep. School. Look, in the shower.
Mo, you was in the choir.
In school, in the shower, but definitely church. Yeah.
Okay.
I was singing at school. I had a little girl group myself before I was with Mo and Ken. I was in a girl group. We didn't see ourselves like being signed. We were just like the girl group of the school, like sung together at talent shows.
Okay.
And I sang talent shows at my school, and when I was in elementary.
Wow.
So I started that journey thinking I can sing. Look, in elementary school.
Wow.
I sung at home. I was writing raps.
Let me say,
I was singing for fun. I was mostly writing.
Okay. You know, and it's amazing because a lot of people would be surprised that you guys did write a lot of your stuff, because it's not something that you take for granted, because a lot of people, a lot of the artists, you know, label would come and say, okay, yeah, we'll get the writers, and you're just so eager to be out there. So the fact that, and I kind of looked at it and said, wow, you guys actually did write, you know, your biggest singles and stuff like that. And that's always an amazing achievement. And then, but also I think the good thing that we've heard from you guys is the fact that you didn't just say, okay, lawyer, tell us what we need to do, but you actually, you know, but you probably paid a price in some ways, knowing so much probably meant that people thought, oh, you know, we're not going to get as much from these guys, so we'll dispel them and find we'll get somebody who's more vulnerable and easier to manipulate and stuff, and which is a sad thing, but I'm glad
true.
The fact
that's
that
real talk, and we saw our people make.
But what you guys are showing now is the fact that, you know, after all this time, that sense of being strong and independent and taking ownership, you know, as I said, coming together, putting out a book and reinventing yourself is something that is a lot of people can learn from, because a lot of other artists, they just, like Mo, decided, you know what, this is too much. I've been burnt. I'm not going back. I'm not going to go through it again. But then and then others are thinking, you know what, I got into the industry not because of the money, more so because I love to sing and I love to showcase the talent that I was given and if I have an opportunity to do that again, I can do that to enjoy it. So I'm glad that you guys are coming back in a way that you're doing it for the love, as opposed to, okay, we need to pay our bills, so let's make, because then in a sense people can probably see through that and stuff. So it's we're looking forward to that, and
Thank you, Nnamdi.
yeah, and hopefully we do get to hear and see you guys in shows as well, because as I said, you are, you
Now, out there where you're at, you let those people know out there. You put a buzz out, say MoKenStef is ready to come to London.
yeah, you know what, as I said, with most, a lot of groups, very few groups had 3 albums or had 2, that and they're still they're still able to tour and stuff. You had a massive singles, and you had other big singles, and you had a lot. It's just that we hadn't seen or heard much from you. It's a good thing you've got the social media account, because that's how it starts. Promoters look and see, okay, they're doing a few things here and there, and it starts creating the buzz. And I know we've got people from around the world who watch and listen, and they'll be really excited to hear what you guys have done. But when they do come on your social media, they want to be able to see updates and stuff. So it's a different world now. It's sometimes it's the music, but a lot of times it's just seeing you guys doing your stuff, singing a cappella, doing some dance routines. All this stuff is what people want to be able to see, to say, okay, they still got it and stuff. So hopefully we'll see more of that going forward and stuff.
Yes, you guys stay tuned, keep checking it out, and go to MoKenStef.com as well.
Okay. Yeah, I will. Yeah, to get updates and stuff. So I definitely appreciate. I mean, so Kenya's the doing the fitness. I mean, are you guys? What about yourself, Mo and Steph? I mean, how? I take it, Steph, you're not a police officer or correctional officer anymore.
Hey, she can do it all. So I'm in education. I did finally go back to school. I got my bachelor's in psychology. And so that's the field that I'm working in. I'm working in the field of psychology right now.
Okay.
So me, I'm in the investment world, investing, and also I'm also trying to get I'm almost done with my life coaching. So I'm also, so it kind of goes with the music, with the book and everything, helping people, being that encouraging queen. I call myself the encouraging queen. And with doing a life coach and getting into that, spreading my world, spreading the word, and from the music aspect and just for personal, just from helping kids out to adults, just that whole spectrum of just trying to be encouraging, because people need that encouragement, especially right now with the whole COVID. It's even, you need it more than ever, being encouraged and not give up.
Yeah.
Because we're going to always have challenges in life. We're always going to have them, but we have to have people that it's just encouraging you and giving them different ways, different strategies to cope with these different things that we're, being faced with right now.
No, you're right. I mean, when I'm not doing this, I mean, this is it's about midnight here in the UK, but Monday to Friday, I'm a psychotherapist, and I work with under 19s, CBT. I work, treat people with depression, anxiety, and phobias and stuff.
I love it.
And so, in a way, the reason I started the channel was because during the lockdown, a lot of us was just like, what to do. So the whole idea was to, listen to people's stories like yourselves, hear the beginning, hear the, the middle where things didn't go around. But then it's like, well, this is where we are now. So that sense of, if, they went through challenges, but then look where they are now. So that was the whole premise and the whole theme, is to show how people can overcome, and and especially harder for people who are in the spotlight, how hard it is. When I spoke to Lily a couple of weeks ago, she was like, after all this big record, she had to get a 9 to 5, and people were like, is that not Lily? And all those things, almost trying to take your own life because you feel like you're a failure and your identity was in the group as opposed to within rediscovering yourself.
Yes.
So these stories that we're hearing, and especially the fact that you have plans going forward and what people will gravitate to think, okay, you know what, you know, it might seem tough for us, but just look what these strong women have done and are doing, and you know, it's never too late.
Yeah, and that's important because you can't, you know, you can't speak about, sorry about that. You can't speak about these things. Sorry about that. You can't speak about it if you haven't been through certain things. So I'm qualified to talk about, and that's in the book. I'm very transparent. I talk about depression and how it makes you feel, you know, when you go through these things, when you're in a spotlight and then it's taken away from you. But I also can show you how you can not, you know, the thing is, because some people in our field want to kill themselves, you know, or they committed suicide in our field, but that's not the direction I wanted to do. I was depressed, but I found a way to get out of it, but I didn't want to hurt. I never wanted to hurt myself. So I talk about the different things what I've done and shared, and it's being transparent that it's okay to be depressed in a situation, but you don't have to kill yourself, you know.
Right.
So I talk about that, you know.
That's right.
In my journey, you know what I mean? To let them know that there is hope, you know, to get out of that, getting out of that hump that you could be in.
And that's what gravitated me to fitness too, is because the physical fitness lifted my spirits. I started feeling good mentally and physically, and the euphoria from that is like you feel like you can conquer the world now. So it's like, I want to share this with people. I want to know you can come out of, you know, depression and you know, feeling bad about yourself through physical fitness. That's another route or another journey that you can take to help lift your spirits and take you to another level. So that's what came out of that for me too, as well.
Yeah. When treating depression, one of the things we try and get people to do is to be busy and be active, because if it's what depression tries to do is to isolate you, cut everyone away, just lay in bed, and one of the behavior activation is all about doing things you're passionate about, and even if you don't feel motivated, it's action before motivation and stuff. But as I said, but for most of us as fans, we have no idea what it's like, as I said, when you're in the spotlight and people knew you going on tours and stuff. We saw the New Edition story, and you know, and we saw the TLC story, but then those are one off. But when we're talking and hearing that, you know, Tabitha from Cut Close had to get a job as a nanny, and people, you know, after being, you know, you're on Video Soul, you're everywhere, and then everything shuts down, and then you know, it's your identity is so much wrapped into the image and into the industry.
Right.
You have no idea what it's like for you guys and stuff.
The good thing is that guess what? It's okay.
It's like, okay.
Just like being an artist is just another job. You take care of yourself. Take care of your livelihood. Get a job. Don't feel like humble yourself. If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. And don't let anybody measure your success. You're still successful, even though you may not still be as successful as you were. You are successful. Now, what's the next play? That's just.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really appreciate the words of advice and encouragement. I know that we're going to be looking forward to hearing about your book, and hopefully when the book does come out, we can have just a sort of a press junket around the book, so at least people can be aware of what's just the gist of it, and where they can. I know you mentioned it would probably be on the website and stuff, but just have a pre thing about the book and stuff, but hopefully we can start to see you guys.
You guys really tune in, because we're going to be having conversations with MoKenStef on our Instagram Live. We're going to be like talking to you guys, getting you guys set up for what the book, giving you different little, you know, vibes, what that's going on in the book. So be looking out for that.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's good to see that you guys are back active on social media. That's always going to be key. Can't wait to see you guys singing, performing and stuff like that. The dance routines, I mean, come on, TikTok is all about the routines and stuff. So we need to see you guys do some dancing because
I hear you, Nnamdi. I hear you calling us out.
yeah, because you tell me you guys were hip hop and dancers,
Let's
and I'm
see
thinking,
it, huh?
no, you know, come on, I still see
Stop all that talking.
yeah, I see Big
Be
Les.
about
He keeps posting dance videos, and I'm like, come on, guys, you know,
Yeah.
so
We'll do that for you, definitely. We'll do that for you. Right. We just was with, it's funny you said Big Les. We just was with Big Les like 2 months ago.
Yes.
At an event, and it was really good seeing her. Yeah, that she's a dancing queen. We love her. We all came from that back. She was from the East Coast. We was from the West Coast, being in certain arenas, yeah, together. So yep, she be rocking it. I saw her. I said, yeah, go on, Les. But yeah, we gonna.
Okay, as long as you can still do it. I mean, don't want to break any limbs or anything like that. If you can still
Oh,
dance,
He
definitely.
don't believe yet, Steph. He don't believe.
That's one thing we ain't
don't
gonna
believe.
That's one thing we ain't gonna do, sir. We ain't gonna do nothing we can't do.
We're not gonna talk about nothing we can't do. That's for sure.
Still got it, so that's a blessing. I'm thankful. I don't want to be bragging too much, but I'm thankful that I still got it.
Okay. So
You can catch me on a couple of TikToks with my daughter. Me and my daughter Stefanie, Miss Steph. We have a TikTok thing going on, and you can see me dancing. So I keep it going. I'm still dancing.
Okay.
On TikTok.
Okay. We'll be watching there. We'll be watching there. So
Yeah. Watch my reel, sir. Watch my reel.
Okay. No, okay. We'll watch it. So I definitely appreciate the time. I'm glad we were able to reschedule and stuff because I know.
Yes.
We are too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We know it's late
Sorry
out
for
there.
the confusion. Yeah.
Late out there. So we appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us and for us to reschedule and making that time because 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock is your time, right?
Yeah.
So,
thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.